Here we're asked to find the seventh term in a geometric sequence using a recursive formula. I always think of recursive formulas as just a way to write what is happening to find the next term. It's not really as helpful as an explicit formula in finding like the 50th term or the 100th term in the sequence. Often it's used to find a smaller term in the sequence. So we're just asked to find the seventh term in the sequence. So this is the recursive formula. Let's start finding the components to fill it in. So the first step is to find our common ratio. Since it's a geometric sequence, we know that we're multiplying by the same number each time. The common ratio is that number we're multiplying by, and we use the variable r to represent that. So to find that number, sometimes it's obvious, but if not, this technique works for any sort of sequence. You just pick a number like 24 and you divide it by the previous number. And we get 4. That means that 6 times 4 gives us 24. We're multiplying by 4. But you want to test it out and see if we're continuing to multiply by 4 or pick a number and like 96 and divide it by the previous number. And we see that's also 4. 384 divided by 96 is also 4. So this confirms that we are multiplying by 4 each time, so r equals 4. And then we just need to know what A1 is. This is read as the first term. The number here is saying what term we're trying to find or what term we are giving. So it says the first term. That's how you should read it. So the first term, A1, in our sequence is 6. So A1 equals 6. So really, R and A1 are all we need to fill out our recursive formula. Let's fill that in. So this right here is how a recursive formula is commonly presented. The way I read this is A1 equals 6, and then the second line is saying AN, so the nth term is equal to 4 times the previous term. N minus 1 is saying the one right before N. So if you're trying to find the 6th term, it's 4 times the previous term, the 5th term, 6 minus 1. So let me write down what this is saying. So I think the most difficult thing about recursive formulas is being able to read it. Once you're able to read that this is saying the first term is 6, to find the nth term, any number term, you take 4 times the previous term. So if you can read that, then you know all it's saying is like to find this term, I just take the previous term and multiply it by 4. And then to find this term, I just take the previous term and I multiply it by 4. And to find this term, I take the previous term and I multiply it by 4. So if this question is asking me to find the 7th term, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this would be my answer. So this is how I use the recursive formulas. If you want to actually substitute n in and use it that way, please continue watching this video and I will show you how to do that. In my mind, it makes it a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. So in step 3, we want to identify n. N is the number term we're being asked to find, so n equals 7. So if we substitute 7 into this formula, what do we get? And if we want to simplify this a bit, 7 minus 1 is 6. So we can just erase this and put 6. So this tells us that the first term is 6, and to find the 7th term, we want to take 4 and multiply it by the 6th term. But we don't know what the 6th term is, so we need to first find out what is the 6th term when n is 6. So let's substitute that into the formula. So again, we can simplify this a bit. 6 minus 1 is 5, so let's change that to 5. So it says to find the sixth term, we take 4 and multiply it by the fifth term. But we don't know the fifth term yet. So we need to know what is the fifth term. So when n equals 5, let's substitute that into the formula. And again, 5 minus 1 is the same as 4. So this is telling us to find the fifth term, we take 4 and we multiply it by the fourth term. And we know what the fourth term is. It's this right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 384. So then we can just start substituting these in one at a time. So to find the fifth term, we take 4 and we multiply it by the fourth term. So let's do that. And now we know the fifth term. So now we can substitute that in to find the sixth term. To find the sixth term, it's 4 times the fifth term. So if we multiply those together, what do we get? And now that we know the sixth term, we can find the seventh term, because the seventh term is 4 times the sixth term. So let's multiply those together and see what we get. So that's the second way you can use these formulas. You get the same answer. The seventh term is 24,576.